Tonight on Cronkite News, Arizona teachers and educators take to the Capitol to make sure their voices are heard.
Plus, this popular app may be counting its days. Find out why politicians on both sides of the aisle want it gone.
And future League Devils take their next steps towards the NFL today during Arizona State's official Pro Day. Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Eric List.
And I'm Zariah Cole. Thank you for joining us.
We begin tonight with two perspectives on an important issue in our state, public education. In a few moments, we'll have a report on the dozens of educators at the state capitol demanding higher pay.
But first, Superintendent of Public Instruction Tom Horn had some priorities of his own when he delivered his State of Education address yesterday afternoon. Cronkite News reporter Paloma Rutherford was at the Capitol when he addressed lawmakers.
We have one overriding goal.
Tom Horn delivered his State of Education report to members of the Education Committee at the Capitol. One issue Horn talked about was teacher shortages. A recent report shows Arizona ranks last in student-to-teacher ratio.
With our current teacher shortage, which under current trends will grow substantially, unfilled teachers' places have to be taken by others, such as long-term substitutes with no training.
Horn attributes the teacher shortage to a lack of administrative support for disciplinary actions in schools, proposing a system where all disciplinary actions are recorded to ensure accountability. Districts will be given grades on their performance.
District offices are to be required to keep records of when teachers ask principals for discipline and whether or not the principals supported the teachers.
Another issue Horn addressed is the discrepancy between high school graduation rates and student proficiency levels. He warns of the potential issuance of diplomas that do not accurately reflect students' knowledge and skills.
Complaints from business leaders that applicants now show that they have high school diplomas, but they do not have the minimal skills one would expect of a high school graduate.
The superintendent proposes all students either achieve a reasonable score on the ACT test or demonstrate proficiency in a skill related to career or technical education. Other issues Horn outlined of importance were school security, wage increases for teachers, and college preparation. In Phoenix, Paloma Rutherford, Cronkite News.
As you can imagine, educators and teachers have some opinions of their own on the superintendent's vision.
Dozens showed up to the state capitol today to make sure that teachers are involved in all discussions. Ripley Simone Kennebrew was at the Capitol. She joins us now to tell us what teachers want to change.
One area where teachers agree with Superintendent Tom Horn is that teachers in Arizona need to be paid more, but they have other priorities as well. Wearing their trademark red shirts, dozens of teachers and staff from the Arizona Education Association held a press conference to respond to Tom Horn's State of Education. They're asking the state to rein in empowerment scholarship accounts because of issues with transparency. They also want to ensure the budget this year includes money specifically for public schools. While they agree with Superintendent Tom Horn that teacher retention is a problem, they say ultimately it goes beyond just teachers.
What we need is more adults. We need counselors. We need social workers. I need smaller class sizes. I need to make sure that kids have food, that they have a safe house to go to, that they have everything they need to walk in refreshed.
What we fundamentally need to do is we need to look at the system of the way we fund public education in our state and get down to the root cause of why it's not working.
Advocates say they support renewing Proposition 123, which would increase money for salaries and improve school safety for the next 10 years. In the newsroom, Ripley Simone Kennebrew, Cronkite News.
And before we know it, we'll be seeing that extreme heat Arizona summers are known for, which is getting deadlier, according to the report from Maricopa County Department of Public Health. Last year, there were a total of 645 heat-associated deaths. That breaks the previous year's total by 50%. All visitors of Maricopa County experience this heat, but some populations are impacted more, like people over 50 years old, those living in mobile homes, or people experiencing homelessness.
Today, the House of Representatives passed a bill that could ban TikTok here in the United States if the China-based company does not sell their app. There were 352 affirmative votes and 65 opposing as the app heads to the Senate, where it faces uncertainty. However, if the bill goes through, it doesn't get rid of the app right away. Instead, it gives ByteDance, TikTok's parent company, 180 days to find a new buyer. 3 of Arizona's representatives voted no, 4 voted yes, and 2 decided not to vote.
Bank accounts can be used for a lot of things, such as protecting your money, making everyday transactions like cashing checks, saving money, or applying for credit. But for 17% of Phoenix residents, none of that is an option. But some banks and community organizations are working to change that. PNC Bank is using a new strategy to reach people in Phoenix who have little to no access to traditional banking services. A new 30-foot PNC mobile banking branch on wheels. David Crumney says the mobile banking branch stops regularly outside of affordable housing complexes and nonprofits that serve low-income communities.
Dedicated staff and a dedicated route to support our neighbors.
People who come to the truck can use the ATM to withdraw smaller amounts of cash, apply for a loan or a mortgage. For many communities, this is not easy. An FDIC study found that unbanked rates were higher among low-income households, Black households, and Hispanic households. Jeffrey Smith says mobile banking is another way to fill in gaps in low and moderate income communities.
All you need is to get people signed up. And once they're signed up, you can bank remotely now. You don't have to actually visit the branch any longer. So it's just a matter of getting people signed up, and you can do that with these remote bank on wheels.
Crumney says it's all about meeting residents where they are.
PNC Mobile Branch is a tool of PNC to provide a community service of financial education and bringing banking services into our community.
It's not just about banking. PNC is teaming up with several organizations around Phoenix, like the Foundation for Senior Living and St. Vincent de Paul. That way, people who visit these mobile banking sites can do everything they need in one place.
I absolutely understand the need for community-based services throughout the state. Here at Village on Rozier specifically, we have 140 residents who have this service right here at their door.
Since late 2023, the 30-foot PNC branch on wheels states they have served more than 9,000 individuals in the Phoenix metro area alone. The 7th U.S. city where PNC is offering these services.
Next, in a few months, kids and families will be hitting the pool. After the break, the Valley organization that is working to make sure the summer is safe.
And we may be seeing some colder weather making one more appearance for your forecast coming up.
What Cronkite News means to me is opportunity.
We do news right at Cronkite News, serving a community ethically, honestly, and truthfully.
And we can provide a necessarily different angle, different voice for those people that really need it.
The students, they have a lot of passion for journalism.
I get to do a lot of stories about the Hispanic community.
And we have access to cover all of these sorts of events and get media coverage of all these different personalities and athletes, and that's just a huge thing.
But it's also a chance for people here to be humanized.
Individuals of all walks of life.
Cronkite News will help take the next generation of journalists onto their next careers.
I am old enough to remember Walter Cronkite.
We're putting a lot of pride on his name because we are practicing a lot of the things that he did.
I think he'd be smiling from ear to ear.
I.
We are Cronkite.
The Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication's Phoenix Sports Bureau provides students with hands-on learning experiences and opportunities in sports journalism. From covering local high schools, colleges, and the pros, students get the opportunity to go live from our Facebook shows covering local, collegiate, and pro sports in the Valley. From digital reporting, broadcast, social media, and producing, there's opportunities for all. For more, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
Losing a child is every parent's worst nightmare. And in Arizona, where many homes have a pool, the risk of losing a child to drowning becomes even more dangerous.
In fact, it is the leading cause of death for children under the age of 4, according to the CDC. Cronkite News reporter Mariah Staubs looked into a program that's bringing awareness to water safety.
Arizona native Brandy Stahl watches her kids as they play outside.
I know it sounds cliche to watch your kids, but it literally, you have to watch them.
Stahl knows firsthand how quickly things can take a turn after her daughter nearly drowned in their pool when she was almost 2 years old.
She was right next to my side, and Dad gets up and calls for her, and he calls for her a second time, which prompted me to look for her. So I looked across the pool, and she was actually face down by the pool steps.
In the Valley, this story isn't unusual.
Many times when it comes to a drowning call, especially with children, it's a lack of barriers.
Just last year in Phoenix, there were 37 pool drowning incidents, and 11 of those ended in fatalities. That's why pool fences like these, which block children from reaching the pool, are one of the most effective ways to reduce the risk of drowning.
There's a financial component to that, so we want to kind of remove that obstacle for families that aren't able to afford a pool fence.
The Pool Fence Safety Program is now run by Child Crisis Arizona in collaboration with SRP and the 493 Firefighter Foundation. The program offers free fences to families like Brandy Stalls and provides an online water safety course.
We were able to install 16 fences in 2023, which that was a total of 80 individuals across all of those households.
While that's almost double the amount of fences the program installed the year before, there's still an unmet demand. Nearly 100 households applied for the program last year.
It's really just that kind of combination of trying to prioritize where we can have the greatest impact with the limited funds that we have.
For Brandy Stahl, her kids now love playing in the water, but not every story ends like hers.
She's still here with us, and our outcome is very rare. Not a lot of families get to still hold their child and her to be perfect, healthy,
and able to enjoy playing outside with her siblings. In Phoenix, Maria Staubs, Cronkite News.
Temperatures are cooling down, so unfortunately probably not a dip in the pool yet. But joining us from the Cronkite Weather Center, Max Williams is here to update us on the forecast.
Thanks. Well, we'll take a look at some of those cooler temperatures a little bit later, but first, let's take a look at the evening planner. Not unlike some of the days we've seen earlier in the week, sunny in the day, cool temperatures, and then we dip into the mid-60s like you see here at 10 p.m. But I want to take a closer look at those wind speeds. 18 miles per hour at 6 p.m., but we drop all the way down to 7 miles per hour later on, which is much more manageable during those chillier times of the day. Speaking of those chillier temps, let's take a look at the lows that can be expected for Thursday. 54 degrees here in Phoenix, and we do get below freezing up north in the Grand Canyon and Flagstaff. Let's see how we warm up here. Not too much change, especially in Phoenix. 72 degrees, not too warm, and that is because of this system moving through the state in between Thursday and Friday. This is early Friday morning, and that's going to continue on through Saturday. But let's take a look at some of the 8-day forecast here. 65 degrees on Friday. That's pretty cold because of that rain that's moving in. And then on St. Patrick's Day on Sunday, we do warm up a little bit with it being 83 degrees on Thursday at the end of next work week. Let's hope it warms up a little bit for St. Patty's. From the Cronkite Weather Center, I'm Max Williams.
Coming up next, your sports report featuring a look at the brand new Phoenix Rising jerseys.
Take a look at the sights and sounds of the reveal party held by the Rising and how the momentum for the upcoming season is at an all-time high.
The TV Production and Graphics Lab, we are behind the scenes making the news happen. Gain experience in the control room directing, teledirecting, and rolling the audio of every Cronkite News show. Run the floor and work in a professional environment, honing your skills for the future. Create graphics that will be seen by the local community on Arizona PBS. Be a part of the bloodline that makes the Cronkite News shows possible.
The Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication's Phoenix Sports Bureau provides students with hands-on learning experiences and opportunities in sports journalism. From covering local high schools, colleges, and the pros, students get the opportunity to go live from our Facebook shows covering local, collegiate, and pro sports in the Valley. From digital reporting, broadcast, social media, and producing, there's opportunities for all. For more, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
Did you know newsrooms today are looking for bilingual journalists? Cronkite Noticias prepares you to cover diverse communities. In Cronkite Noticias, you will obtain an unforgettable experience.
Nopales como este van a tumbar.
Cronkite Noticias.
And develop your skills with the latest technology.
Teleprompter's not on. Teleprompter's not on. Welcome to the Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Josh Amick.
And I'm Tia Reed. While it's tournament time in college basketball, ASU football had their annual pro day to showcase their best players to NFL scouts.
This opportunity gives players not invited to the combine a chance to prove their worth for next month's draft. Cronkite News reporter Jack Pearson has more on which Sun Devil stood out the most.
Yeah, NFL scouts came to Tempe to take a look at some of the top players on the Arizona State roster whom are eligible for the 2024 NFL Draft. And of the 14 participating today, one player who had a lot of eyes on him was defensive back Ro Torrens, who was the lone invite to the 2024 NFL Draft Combine in Indianapolis.
It's a dream come true. It's like moments like these, this is what made me remind me of junior college. You just got to keep going. I can remember it was times I wanted to give up. It was times I just wanted to call my mom and say, "Mom, I'm coming home." But looking back on it, it made me cherish these moments right here.
Torrens did not give up and was able to earn his way to a starting spot the last 2 seasons for the Maroon and Gold, where he racked up 2 interceptions and 11 passes defended. His 6'3", 206-pound frame is ideal. Combine that with a 32.5-inch vertical and an unofficial 40-yard dash time of around 4.6, he is a prospect many teams have their eyes on, especially in the later rounds. While Arizona State will likely not have any players selected in the early rounds of this year's draft, there will be several players who will provide value to teams in the later rounds, as well as undrafted free agents. In Tempe, Jack Pearson, Cronkite News.
The Pac-12 tournament is already underway in Las Vegas, with the first round starting today.
That's right, Josh. In this first round, we could see some upsets, so let's go through the bracket. The top 4 teams of Arizona, Washington State, Colorado, and Oregon all got a first-round bye and will play tomorrow. However, the first round started today with USC and Washington tipping off the tournament, followed by a Northern California rivalry game with Stanford and Cal.
Now to the final game of the night. Arizona State takes on Utah for the 6 vs. 11 matchup. The game starts at 8:30 Mountain Time and will be the last chance for both the Sun Devils and Utes to keep their season alive.
Anticipation and excitement filled Phoenix Rising fans as they gathered at the Marquee Theater in Tempe for the club's jersey unveil to kick off the 2024 season. Our Alex DaCosta has more on the new kits.
Fans were ecstatic at the chance to view the new jerseys before the home opener against Birmingham Legion FC last Saturday. Rising fans were given free merch at the door that included a scarf and a magnet with the newly added championship star. Fans also lined up to get their new merch signed as they met the players.
I love these kid reveal parties because it's just a chance to get back together with all the fans. This is a community. That's what I think is most special about this fan base. Seeing old friends and getting to see the new kids is always fun.
Phoenix Rising's new head coach Danny Stone acknowledged the incredible amount of support the Valley brings to the team.
We have a fantastic organization. We have a great group of players. But more than anything, we represent the fans of the organization. We know that. We recognize that. We look forward to representing them and the city of Phoenix as a whole. And the people in the city is incredibly important to everybody involved with the organization.
Rising fans look forward to this moment for many months during the offseason. Fans are excited for the 2024 season, repping the new black, gold, and red jerseys. In Tempe, Alex DaCosta, Cronkite News.
Phoenix Rising FC will be traveling up the coast to play Monterey Bay FC at Cardinale Stadium this Saturday. Their current record stands at 0-1.
NFL free agency started this week, and with the draft being only a month away, the Arizona Cardinals have plenty of flexibility and a front office that is not afraid of wheeling and dealing. For more on what their plan could entail, we go to our Cronkite News reporters TJ Hayes and Cameron Palmer in Phoenix.
The Arizona Cardinals finished last season with a 4-13 record, but this upcoming season has the potential to be a complete 180.
We were able to talk with Arizona sports reporter Tyler Drake about his thoughts on the Cardinals' room for growth this offseason, and this is what he had to say.
I don't want to sound too crazy, but there's no part of me that doesn't think they can't double the wins.
I say we both agree with Drake's statement. The Cardinals have massive potential this offseason, both in free agency and the draft.
Yeah, Cardinals fans, you should be licking your chops. Looking at earlier this week, when the legal tampering period opened for free agency, the Cardinals made a lot of moves to address some of their key needs with the plethora of cap space that they had. Veteran additions like cornerback Sean Murphy-Bunting, defensive tackle Bilal Nichols, defensive tackle Justin Jones, and linebacker Mack Wilson will all be nice additions and added depth for Jonathan Gannon's defense.
The Cardinals should look to keep adding to the trenches before the draft in the second and third tiers of free agency. Adding interior offensive line depth and any other playmakers on defense will be important.
Looking at their draft capital, the Cardinals have 11 total selections, and 6 of those picks are in the top 90. That's the most in the NFL.
Most media outlets believe Marvin Harrison Jr. will go to the Cardinals with their first pick at number 4. But Darren Urban could see the team going in another direction.
I know a lot of people are talking about Marvin Harrison at 4. I don't think that's necessarily a lock. I don't think them staying at 4 is a lock.
Seeing as it stands now, without predicting a trade, we believe Marvin Harrison Jr. will become a Cardinal.
Yeah, and with the other 2 picks they have in the top 50, 27 and 35, we believe the Cardinals should target another bookend offensive tackle to pair with Paris Johnson Jr. and another defensive stud for Jonathan Gannon's defense.
Given all of the moving parts, both in free agency and the draft, there is no doubt who will lead this team moving forward.
This team is, this coaching staff, this front office, they're all in on Kyler Murray.
With Kyler Murray at the helm, the additions already made, and the massive draft capital at their disposal, things seem to be shaping up pretty nicely for the Cardinals, and finishing this offseason strong could catapult them back to competing for a playoff spot next season. In Phoenix, for Cameron Palmer, I'm TJ Hayes, Cronkite News.
GCU men's basketball wrapped up the regular season last week, and some of the players were awarded some impressive hardware. They finished the year with a 27-4 record, which came with some great individual performances. Tie-in Grant Foster took home WAC Player of the Year, as well as making All-WAC first team. Senior forward Gabe McGladden joined Grant Foster on the first team, while guard Ray Harrison made All-WAC second team. Colin Moore rounded out the group with an appearance on the All-WAC All-Defensive team. These awards spoke to the depths of the Lopes this season.
I think that's a big part of, us winning the games that we have is, players like Ray and Gabe that were our predominant scorers last year realized we had other guys that could score, and so they really expanded their game to defend better, rebound better, pass better.
Sticking with GCU basketball, over the weekend, the women's team wrapped up the regular season, losing the last 2 games, but still secured the number 2 seed in the WAC tournament and a spot in the semifinals. Since being hired in 2020, Coach Molly Miller has the most wins in team history, and she knows to make it to the big dance, the Lopes would need to win the WAC tournament.
You got to be playing your best basketball right now. You can't come up and show up and get on the court and not give it your best effort. We've been saying when preparation meets opportunity, that's when something special can happen.
The Lopes will head to Vegas looking to win the WAC tournament and earn a spot in next week's NCAA tournament for the 2nd straight year.
That is all the time we have today for Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Josh Amick.
And I'm Tia Reed. Back to Eric and Zariah.
Thank you, Tia and Josh. Coming up, an unconventional way to send a letter.
NASA has unveiled a new design for a message that they are going to be sending up into space.
When we return, find out what this message means and why NASA is sending it.
What Cronkite News means to me is opportunity.
We do news right at Cronkite News, serving a community ethically, honestly, and truthfully.
And we can provide a necessarily different angle, different voice for those people that really need it.
The students, they have a lot of passion for journalism.
I get to do a lot of stories about the Hispanic community.
And we have access to cover all of these sorts of events and get media coverage of all these different personalities and athletes, and that's just a huge thing.
But it's also a chance for people here to be humanized. Individuals of all walks of life.
Cronkite News will help take the next generation of journalists onto their next careers.
I am old enough to remember Walter Cronkite.
We're putting a lot of pride on his name because we are practicing a lot of the things that he did.
I think he'd be smiling from ear to ear.
I.
We are Cronkite.
At Cronkite News, learn to work behind the camera for studio production. Our students spend time learning the ins and outs of all that it takes to run a newscast. From setting up the studio to building exciting graphics, studio production provides a job for everyone. Whether it be running audio, technical directing, or directing the newscast, students can experience the action behind the scenes. Join our team today.
Finally tonight, a message from Earth will soon make its way into the cosmos.
In fact, it's being called a cosmic message in a bottle. A special commemorative plate will be sent to Jupiter's moon Europa later this month. The message will be carried on the Europa Clipper spacecraft, which is set to launch in October. The metal plate is etched with poetry and artwork from planet Earth, as well as the names of millions of humans submitted by the public.
That's it for Cronkite News. Thank you for joining us.
And to see top Arizona stories anytime, log on to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.